Stan, as long as I've been a player, I always worked on the mechanics of my swing at the plate. Always thinking there was something within my mechanics that was causing me to miss the ball. But the thing that I never considered.
You're talking about physical mechanics,
yeah,
right?
Physical mechanics. Yeah. The thing I never considered was a mental approach at the plate. Tell us a little bit about the mental approach at the plate.
Well, let me start off by saying when I started with pro ball, I felt like after I saw what I was involved with and how competitive it was, if I didn't hit the ball or make contact any day, I was going to go home. So mine was a matter of survival at that time. Now, I got to back up. I was playing during a time where we only had managers. We didn't have a hitting coach. We didn't have a catching guy. We didn't have a hitting guy that went with every team. Now, we had these guys that were in spring training, and that was about the only time we saw them. So we couldn't get a whole lot out of that. All right, so throughout the years, and then finally as a coach, I started running into these hitting coaches. And I said, where were you guys when I needed you? Because I felt like the outcome would have been a little different had I had a little direction in that realm. Now, what I'm going to give you now is something that I've developed on my own, but with the help of my own experiences, other professional hitters from the rookie ball to the big leagues, hitting instructors and coordinators, and roving hitting guys too. So I've taken all these notes and I've compiled them and consolidated in a mental process to hit. So basically, you want to prepare yourself physically. You definitely want to get your swing right, because the better the swing, the better opportunity you got of hitting a ball. All right, in spite of who's pitching. So once we're there, you need to, or while you're doing that, you need to work on the mental side. Now there's four there's four places that during your time on the field to before you at bat to do this. First thing's in a dugout. So when you're in dugout, you need to focus on I would focus on the release point of the pitcher, and really focus on that, because that's where you're going to see it come from when you get to the plate. Okay, and I mean intently focus on that. The second thing is if the guy is well, that's something I'm going to get into next, but what he's throwing to the hitters to lead them off with for the majority of the time, what he's throwing ahead in the count, what he's throwing behind the count, what he's throwing in even counts, and what he's trying to put a guy away with, all right? That consideration leads to, how do you tell? Well, I put pitchers in two categories. You got strike throwers and non-strike throwers, okay? And you're going to see this. In the dugout, you're going to hear, why this guy's throwing strikes. We need to get on him quick. Or, why this guy's struggling with his command. You hear that all the time. Mm-hmm. Okay, but you personally have to decide which one that is. So I would advise on a strike thrower, I would advise the hitter to go to the plate, be ready to hit within the first three pitches. The reason being, one, they're going to be strikes, probably. And the first pitch or the second or the third pitch or all three, majority of the time you're going to see a fastball. And that's what you want to be hitting, is a fastball. Okay, so let's say we got the other guy. He's got a high pitch count. He's going to too many 3-ball counts, and his pitch count early in the game is really high. So he's walking a lot of guys too. Well, that's a non-strike thrower. So the way I look at this, if you don't get your pitch to hit, you're going to work the count from 1-0 to 2-0 to 2-1 to 3-1, which are good hitting counts. The reason being, the pitcher is realized he's in a jam, so he feels like, well, I got to challenge the hitter, so here it comes. You're right down the middle, see what you can do with it. So what you're going to see in those counts when they're field challenged is the majority of the time you're going to see a fastball. We're talking about the majority of time issues now. This is not going to happen. It's not an absolute. Okay, so you're going to win more than you lose if you do it that way, simply because you're you're following a very historically consistent pattern. Okay, So, all right, we got strike throwers and non-strike throwers. Well, if this guy's a strike thrower, you walk into the plate, you better be ready to go. So the first thing in the dugout, you focused on his release point. You finding out, is he getting ahead of the hitters now, or is he not? Is he walking? Is he, you're looking and following what he's doing with every hitter. Okay, so we got strike throwers and non-strike throwers. Well, this guy is magnificent strike thrower with nobody on. What is he doing? How is he pitching with a man on base, where he's got to share his focus with the hitter and the guy on base, or a guy on first and second?
Could be a totally different pitcher.
It could be, and it changes like that quickly. So you got to be aware of that to see if that's what's going on. All right. So now the guy's gone from a strike thrower to a non-strike thrower. Now we change our approach mentally. Okay. If he's struggling with his command, I might not walk up there and swing at that first pitch, because it might be probably a ball. And if he's, as umpires go, as we spoke of, if a guy is struggling with his command, he's not going to get any benefit from the umpire. Right. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, we've seen that.
Right. So here's the other thing. As you go into that, all right, this guy could stay the same too. It's just a headstrong guy. He's going to be all right one way or the other.
Scouting report should tell you that, though.
Well, that's a scouting from before. So you're looking at tendencies that are strong from past. So it does come into play, yes. All right, so that's what we do in the dugout. Now we go in the hole. In the hole, I want the hitters to put their helmet on, put the weight on the bat rack. Put the weight on the bat, and get their gloves on and pine tar on the bat, and get all that taken care of before you're on deck. Now, while you're doing that, you're still watching the pitcher. All right, so we got all the physical stuff taken care of. We're ready to hit. We got all with everything we're going to take to plate. It's on us right now in the hole. Okay, now you're on deck. This is your opportunity to get in sync with the pitcher. The pitcher's not going to get in sync with you. He's trying to beat you. He's going to probably try to work on your perceived weaknesses in your swing and exploit them so he can win. So what you're doing now is you're syncing up with the pitcher, okay? And I mean, you got to stand there focused on that release point and everything, and just following along like you are at the plate, all right? So now it's your turn at bat. Now this is reality, okay? So you got to have a game plan. So I ask hitters what your game plan is, and nobody can tell me. I said, well, it's really simple. Your game plan should be hit your pitch until you get 2 strikes, okay? And your pitch is that part of the zone you hit the best in. Now, I want them looking for a fastball 100% of the time, 100%, and adjust to off-speed stuff, because you can do it. All right, it takes some practice to do it, but it can be done. So you're looking for a fastball, because the majority of the time you're going to see a fastball like 70% of the time. So get to the pitcher before he gets to you. Mm-hmm. That means don't get in a 2-strike count. Well, you are, but when you do that, what happens? You start seeing off-speed stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Curveball, or even bad pitches they're trying to get you to swing at.
Right. Things in the dirt.
Exactly. So you want to hit your pitch until you get 2 strikes. Well, let's say you get 2 strikes. Now, what I would recommend, and it doesn't necessarily have to be this, but there's a 2-strike approach. Choke up on the bat about 1 inch. All right, that's for better bat control.
Sure.
Creep up on the plate a little bit for better plate coverage. All right, and they're going to try to throw you away unless they feel like they can beat you inside. But the majority of the time, it's away. So you want to focus on driving the ball the opposite field.
Absolutely.
Okay, that can be done. If you're a very tentative hitter, it should be done. Okay, if you're aggressive, you don't have to do it. But you got to think about where he's going to pitch you and how you're going to hit the ball. Now, I hear a lot of guys say, stay back, let it travel, that kind of stuff. Well, that's a tough thing it's kind of general and it's abstract.
It's milliseconds.
Exactly. So basically, I would focus on seeing myself hit the ball to the opposite field first, okay? Unless 10% of the pitchers you're going to face are going to bust you inside. So you probably know who those guys are anyway.
Yeah, if you're crowding the plate, you get hit and you're at first base.
Well, you get hit. You go to first base and you rub it for about 3 or 4 weeks and you'll be all right. Unless you get hit in the head, you get knocked out. So, that's why that helmet's there anyway. So that's another thing. You look fastball because if you're looking for a curveball and it ain't breaking, you're not going to move and it's going to hit you right where you're right there. So that's why we don't guess at the plate. You look at fastball and you play the tendencies. It's 1 and 2 count. Usually throws a breaking ball in this count down and away. So you want to be aware of that, but you don't want to look necessarily for a breaking ball there. You want to look for a fastball because you might get a fastball down and in too, or right even over the middle of the plate and hit it. Yeah. So you're trying. Okay, I've got to interject this too. Most guys go to the plate thinking they got to get a hit for the team. Oh man, I got to get a hit for the team. They're looking for me to do this right now. I can really help out if I get a hit. Well, let's say the guy hits the ball really good and he gets thrown out. Well, that thought that I had to get a hit, well, I didn't get it, so I'm out. So the next thought is I failed. So mainly, we want to change that instead of I got to get a hit to watch how hard I hit this one, because that's all you can control. I mean, once the pitch is made and once it's contacted with the bat, you no longer have any control over it. That's why 300 average is such a good average, because there's a defense out there. Mm-hmm. I mean, if there's nobody out there, we'd all be batting 1,000.
Right.
So you want to focus more on the positive stuff. A good at bat. It's going to come down to that time when it's a 3-2 count with a man on third base, and it's down to if you get a hit, you win the ball game, or if you don't, you lose. So what they're going to say is, "Oh, Joe, he hit that ball good, but that shortstop caught it." And then when he gets the hit, hits it in, they're going to say, "Oh, Joe hit that ball good. Well, we won the game." So he's saying the same thing.
Yeah. Can the mental approach explain why players have up years and down years? Like Max Muncy had a great couple of years with the Dodgers. Right now, he's not doing so well. I mean, there was Joe Charbonneau, the rookie, the rookie
with Cleveland.
Yeah, that great first year and nothing after that. Can that mental approach have something to do with that?
I think it has a lot to do with it, because once you start failing as far as hits go and you let that bother you, then you start changing stuff that you don't normally do. Now, with Max, I've watched some videos of him too. That stuff that you normally do is staying on the ball and driving it, and he's good at driving the ball the other way too.
Absolutely, he was a consummate opposite field hitter when he was at Baylor.
Yeah, exactly. So what I was seeing is he's coming off the ball right at the wrong time, right at virtually contact. And so when you got about 1/4 of an inch for that bat to contact that ball to make it do what you want it to do, if you're looking off 1/4 of an inch, you're going to miss-hit it. And if you're looking off more than that, you're going to miss it completely. Okay, so what he's been good at is staying on the ball all the way to contact. And for me, this is just my opinion, after watching 7 or 8 games of him hitting, he's looking off the ball right at the wrong time. There was another guy, Mike Napoli, that was with
the Rangers.
The Rangers, who I thought had super bat speed.
Yeah.
And when the longer he was in the big leagues, I noticed the more he was coming off the ball a little bit late, because I think maybe he's trying to hit it out of the ballpark or leading with his head too much.
Well, they're all trying to hit it out of the ballpark.
Well, yeah. Home runs means bigger money, a lot more money, no matter what your batting average is, and I understand that.
Chicks dig the log ball.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. But anyhow, that's just my opinion on that stuff. So it's basically, if you got your head straight, well, look at it like this. this tentativeness or this fear that we have. It's to some degree for each player. It's like if you're walking down the street at night and you see an alley. Well, you kind of look in that alley, you can't see what it is, or you're kind of tentative about walking in front of it. But during the middle of the day, you see nothing's in there, everything's fine, right?
Right.
Well, it's probably the same way at night, but it's that fear that's
of the unknown.
It's that survival thing that you're born with.
Yeah, that survival instinct.
Survival instinct that you gotta work against it, and the more you work, the more you know, the more knowledge you got about your opponent, the less that fear and comes into play, and more determination. Now, one thing we need to add here is to determination trumps fear. Okay, it will beat fear. If you're that solidly determined, you're not going to have any fear. I don't care who's throwing. You're determined. You're going to do your job. So let's replace that fear with determination.
Outstanding. Now, you said that you went to Major League spring training with the Mets several times, and at least one of those years, Nolan Ryan was there.
No. Well, oh yeah, it was with the Astros. Yeah.
Oh, it was with the Astros.
Yeah,
okay.
That's right. I forgot about the Astros. Yeah, he was.
Tell us about your experience with Nolan Ryan at the Astros camp.
Well, I got to catch him a few times on the side, but wow. Later on, when I was coaching, he was with the Rangers. I was with the Rangers. There was a photo shoot for Sports Illustrated that day, and Tom House, and I was just standing there in uniform, and everybody had gone. I just wanted to see what they were going to do, and Tom says, "Stan, get a mitt. I need you to catch no." I haven't done this in 20 years. Okay, so I said, okay. So I grabbed the mitt. I started catching him. What I didn't grab was a mask. So that arm was free and easy, and it looked like he was holding a marble when he threw the ball. He's such a big guy, and one nearly got by me, and I said, "Hold on, timeout." I looked around, there was a mask there. I said, "Okay." I put that mask on. I said, "All right, let's go. Let her rip." But
he didn't take offense to you putting on the mask?
No. But years earlier, when I was playing, Nolan was a workout. He was a fiend for work. He'd outwork everybody.
Absolutely. That's why he played 24 years
or more. I'm not sure. But in Cocoa Beach, they had way out there. They had a platform that was the ramp was 45 degrees down, and it had AstroTurf on it, and it would hold 100 or so ball players that could go up and down that ramp. Now at the top there was a large platform area where a lot of guys could be up there, so we're going up and down that thing, and that was good exercise. Well, one day after practice, we're all sitting out on the patio eating, and we see a guy with his family and the dog are running up and down this platform. And one of the guys went and got some binoculars. And he said, "That's Nolan and his family." And they didn't do this for 10 minutes. They did this for roughly an hour. And I was like, here we are sitting here eating, stuffing food in our mouth, and he's out there working his tail off. Well, credit to him. That's all I can say. Credit to him, and he's made exactly everything, that he deserves everything too. And he's a heck of a guy as well.
That'll wrap up this visit to the Mound. We certainly appreciate you joining us today for a little baseball talk. Anytime you want to hear something about baseball, you can find us anywhere you get your podcast, or you can go to roguemedianetwork.com for the next edition of A Visit to the Mound.